penny earned is a penny saved. No, that's not right. A penny saved is a penny earned. Ah, yes, that's much better. A penny... Oh, hello there. Just catching up on some of my sayings. Welcome to Williamsport's Bicentennial. This is 1976, and in just a few minutes you will be seeing how we celebrated our nation's 200th birthday. We sang, we discussed, we danced, we ate, we discussed, we wrote and planted, and, well, we did a lot of things. And I might say we had a lot of fun doing them. But before we take a look at how Williamsport observed the Bicentennial, let us look and see how Williamsport is in 1976. We had some 38,000 people, 3 newspapers, 3 public swimming pools, an historic landmark for a city hall, 69 churches, 2 synagogues, 49 taverns, and 20 social clubs. We had a thriving downtown business district in the throes of change. We had some folks intent upon restoring or preserving the classic lines of some of our buildings, and we had some who didn't. Then there was the massive piece of modern art sprawling across vacant land north of the river. All in all, Williamsport was a rather friendly and nice place to live. That's Williamsport, Pennsylvania in 1976. Now, on with the party.
Gentlemen, the usual morning festivities concluded, I will now call the Congress to order. Mr. Jopson.
The Second Continental Congress meeting in the city of Philadelphia is now in session. 7 June 1776, the 380th meeting. Sweet!
You're watching a scene from the musical 1776, as performed by the Arena Theater. 1776 was one of the first official events of Williamsport Bicentennial. I may add that I had a modest role in this noble presentation.
You've abused the privilege. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome Dr. Lyman Hall George to this Congress. Hope you will make the best of it. My God, it's hard. The Secretary will read the roll.
All members present with the following exceptions: Mr. Charles Carroll of Maryland, Mr. Samuel Adams of Massachusetts, Mr. Button Gwinnett of Georgia, Mr. John White and Mr. Richard Henry Lee of Virginia, and the entire delegation of New Jersey.
I'm concerned over the continued absence of a 1/13 of this Congress. Where is New Jersey?
Somewhere between New York and Pennsylvania.
Thank you very much.
Other events early in the year included a town meeting held at the Williamsport Area Community College. Many of us gathered to discuss the past, present, and future of our city. The discussions were wide-ranging, and at the end of the meeting, a list of conclusions was drawn up and submitted to our government and civic leaders. And over at the YWCA, the Heritage Happening happened. Local craftspeople and artists displayed their talents and gave visitors a greater appreciation of the skills possessed by their neighbors. In May, we held a parade for our young people and encouraged our children to spruce up the city's fire plugs, which they did with great zeal and imagination. We minted a fine bicentennial medal with a lumberman on one side to represent Williamsport's past and a revolutionary soldier on the obverse to commemorate the nation's founding. Art played a big part in our celebration of the bicentennial, and one aspect was the commissioning of several paintings by local artists of local scenes. These are examples of the finished products. It goes without saying that an undertaking as enormous as the Bicentennial requires an extraordinary amount of planning. The Bicentennial Commission's Executive Committee met frequently to plot the progress of the celebration. These volunteers spent hundreds of hours planning and coordinating Williamsport's observance of the nation's 200th anniversary. Other meetings took place too, like this one at the Army Reserve Center. The people in the audience are learning about building floats for the great parade scheduled to take place in June. Experts outlined methods of constructing and decorating the floats to representatives of many local organizations. The big day came on a warm and bright Saturday, June 5th to be exact. Thousands of people from all over the city and the county lined the streets downtown waiting for... a deluge of sights and sounds and colors and motion for the great 1976 Williamsport Bicentennial Parade. There were bands, large and small. Charming young beauty queens. Marching units of every size and description. And floats. We were inundated with floats. Dozens of well-crafted paper flower-bedecked floats featuring patriotic themes. My good friend George Washington was there, and the people at Franklin School constructed a reasonable facsimile of me, albeit less corpulent, flying my kite. And there were conveyances. The conventional, the not-so-conventional, the totally unconventional. It was a proud day in the city of Williamsport. There had never been a parade quite like the Bicentennial Parade. Nobody could ever remember one quite so big and quite so exciting. Why, folks will talk for years about this parade, as well they should. Oh my, we'll long remember this great day in 1976. July afternoon, the American Freedom train backed into town. You'll have to discuss this backing in thing with some outfit called a Conrail. But the Freedom train came nevertheless, and people gathered round to see the great black steam locomotive and the long line of red, white, and blue cars. It was the first time a steam train had been to Williamsport in over a decade, and it was a sight to behold. A short ceremony welcoming the Freedom train was held. And then the exhibit cars were opened to the public. The response was immediate. Huge lines weaved along the train, and folks stood in line for hours for the opportunity to view the historical artifacts contained within. Day and night, people came to see the train. It was quite a sight. These people have bicentennial fever. They're scrambling about in search of coins squashed to paper thinness by the Freedom train. Mementos of the Bicentennial. July 4th crept up on us all. It was a little gray and damp early in the day. It was a pleasant day, though, and the light rain interfered with few plans. Folks hung out their flags all over town. And some set off miniature pyrotechnics on city sidewalks. At 2 that afternoon, the bells of the city's churches rang in commemoration of the act of declaring our independence from the British. An act, I add modestly, I played no small part in. And that evening, a fireworks display over the river brought a fitting climax to July the 4th, 1976. The next big event scheduled for the summer was the pageant. This dramatic work was entirely written, produced, directed, and performed by local residents. Held on 2 evenings at Bowman Field, where I believe a sport called baseball was once played, the pageant attracted large and enthusiastic audiences. Portrayed on the playing field were the events that led up to the founding of our great city.
Governor, I warned the settlers not to travel the west bank of the river, but to continue down the eastern shore. They disregarded my warning and were ambushed on the flats along the western shore.
As the year drew to a close, one last event of significant import took place, the opening of the downtown mall. In a small way, the construction of the mall was a reaffirmation of Williamsport's future. Gone was the noisy and congested Pine Street. In its place were stately trees and a pleasant, quiet, brick-paved walkway. The city's founding fathers would be proud to know Williamsport was still a progressive and purposeful place to live. As 1976 ended, residents of Williamsport could look back on the year as an exciting time, a time to celebrate and enjoy our freedoms and rights, so hard won 2 centuries ago. We'll not have another opportunity to enjoy ourselves like this for another 100 years, and I, for one, plan to be around for the Bicentennial celebration.
You have just seen a brief photographic review of the way the citizens of the greater Williamsport area celebrated our bicentennial during 1976. It was a very busy and memorable year for the thousands of people within the Susquehanna Valley. We revitalized our ideals for which the American Revolution was fought, passed this valuable heritage onto our children, and left some lasting reminders of our celebration. There were nearly 1,600 people involved in the major activities that were viewed by over 100,000 people. There were also hundreds of clubs, organizations, and schools that developed their own special bicentennial activities. We feel that our bicentennial was successful, and we hope you agree. But now, America's future successes and contributions towards our tricentennial are up to you. We're confident that you will assume your responsibility to build upon America's greatness for our benefit of our future generations.